You ever get that feeling? The one where you're drifting through life, thinking you know exactly what's coming next, and then, out of nowhere, a wrong turn drops you somewhere so wild, so unexpected, that it rewrites everything you thought you understood? Yeah, that's how it started for me on the Meridian, the royal flagship gliding through the Cassiopeia sector like some living piece of art, 3 miles long, all shimmering violet light, and engineering so advanced you could swear it breathed. And at its heart was Empress Thrilia, the kind of ruler you imagine in stories. 17 star systems at her fingertips, silver geometric markings on skin as pale as frost, and this sharp, commanding gaze that could probably freeze your blood if she ever cared to look your way. Except she hadn't walked in 13 years, trapped in a mobility throne ever since a gravity accident on Station 779 crushed her spine in ways even her people's tech couldn't fix. You think about power, about what it means to command an empire, but nobody ever talks about what it's like to be trapped, to watch the world fly by from a chair that hovers just above the deck, moving only because your mind tells it to. So here's me, Garrett Holstead, mechanic from Earth, just a regular guy with a toolkit, walking into all that royal drama with no idea what I was about to stumble into. I'd fixed mining rigs on Mars, luxury liners around Jupiter, but nothing like this. Nothing like a ship that felt alive, and definitely nothing like Zathli bureaucracy, where even the security guards have names you need a translator just to pronounce. All I wanted was to get my hands on their environmental systems. Rumor was, they were the most sophisticated in the galaxy, and if I could master those, I could pretty much write my own future. But from the minute I showed up, nothing made sense. Filters clogged with some kind of weird crystalline growth, processors arguing with themselves, diagnostics throwing up errors that felt less like computer code and more like pain. I mean, have you ever seen a machine try to heal itself? Not just fix the hardware, but really try to breathe? That's what I was staring at by day 4, crawling through a mess of neural cables, until, bam, I took a wrong turn and found myself in the one place I had no business being. The Empress's private observation deck. Let me back up a sec. This wasn't just some fancy lounge. This place was a floating garden, walls of see-through aluminum giving you a full view of the stars, water spirals drifting like ribbons, plants from a dozen worlds glowing in the dark. And there she was, Thrilia, sitting in that throne, fingers dancing through the air, directing her chair with more dignity in a single gesture than most people could muster in a lifetime. Protocol says I should have left. Humans weren't supposed to be in royal spaces unsupervised. But of course I tripped over a loose plate, tools clattering everywhere, and suddenly she's spinning around, staring at me with those big, violet eyes like I'm some sort of puzzle she might want to solve or possibly erase from existence. A human, in my observation deck, she said, her voice all harmonics and mystery, and right there I knew. Whatever happened next, I was already in deep. Turns out, she wasn't angry, just curious, especially when I showed her the sample of those crystals I'd pulled out of the ship's filters. The look on her face when she recognized them, that was the first crack in the royal armor. These are neural crystals, she whispered. They're not supposed to exist outside a living Zathli nervous system, let alone be growing in the environmental controls. And then it hit both of us at once. After that gravity accident, when her mind was linked to the ship for safety, something must have bled over. Her injury got mapped into the ship itself. Now, the Meridian was literally trying to heal a wound it couldn't see, mimicking Thralia's damaged patterns, growing neural crystals, and messing up its own systems in the process. You know what I mean? It was like a ghost in the machine, only the ghost was a memory of pain. Most experts would have tried to fix the ship or the Empress, but not both. Me, I thought, why not treat them together? So I pitched it. Rehab for both, using her own recovery as a template for the ship. She hesitated, sure, but desperation has a way of making even an Empress take chances. And that's how I ended up running physical therapy sessions for a royal, building parallel bars out of alien alloys, with her chief medic glaring at me like I was suggesting we fix a starship with duct tape. It wasn't easy. The first day, she barely managed to twitch her foot. The second, maybe a little more. But every win mattered. A second standing, then 4, then 10. The crew started drifting by during our sessions, pretending they had work nearby, but really just hoping for a glimpse of their leader doing something everyone thought was impossible. And then came the twist, because the more Thrilia pushed herself, the more the Meridian responded. Neural crystals started dissolving. The ship's systems synced up with her progress, almost as if they were learning to heal together. Even her most skeptical advisors had to admit something was happening none of them could explain. Week after week, step by shaky step, she went from being trapped in that chair to standing on her own. I'll never forget the day she walked the length of the observation deck, unsupported, the whole ship seeming to hum in rhythm with her. "You did the work," I told her. But she said, "You gave me permission to fail. That's what changed everything." Of course, nothing good comes easy. Near the end of my contract, just as the whole crew was getting used to the idea of an Empress who walked, a distress call came from a mining station trapped in a gravity field, the same kind of accident that had injured Thrilia all those years ago. Everyone said it was too dangerous. She just looked at me and said, "We have someone now who doesn't believe in impossible." So we went, side by side, into that chaos, using everything we'd learned: manual interfaces, neural syncing, brute stubbornness. It nearly broke both of us, but together, we managed to bring the systems back, save the crew, and prove, to everyone watching, that asking for help isn't weakness. It's how you survive. After that, the story spread. Suddenly, humans weren't just the new kids on the galactic block. They were teachers, partners, even heroes in the eyes of some. The Meridian became more than a ship. It was a symbol of recovery, a beacon for anyone who'd ever been told their wounds were beyond healing. Thrilia and I started getting requests to teach, to explain, to show others how to blend biological and mechanical recovery, how to embrace vulnerability, how to celebrate failing forward. I never expected to become an advisor to an Empress or to find my place so far from home. But there's something you learn out in the black. Sometimes, the only way to move forward is to trust, to reach out, to believe that even what's broken can be worth the effort of fixing. Now, years later, the galaxy's a little bit different. The Meridian hosts interspecies rehabilitation summits. Ships everywhere use systems I helped design. The Empress runs, jumps, even jokes about marathons. Yeah, that happened. But the biggest change? It's not in the tech, or the medicine, or even the politics. It's in the simple fact that people saw her stumble, struggle, and stand up again. They saw an Empress, not just ruling, but living. And maybe, just maybe, they started to believe it was possible for them, too. You want to know what's right? What's just, what matters in the end? It's not about perfection, or tradition, or following the rules everyone else set down. It's about refusing to give up on the hard cases. It's about showing up, again and again, until something finally gives. You don't have to be royal to do that. You just have to care enough to try. So let's hear it. What do you think, folks? Is there ever such a thing as too broken? Or do you believe, like I do, that sometimes all you need is a second chance, a good teammate, and the courage to take that impossible first step? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about justice, hope, and what it really means to heal. Because somewhere out there, someone's waiting to see if it's possible, and maybe your story is the one that'll show them the way.